All right, everyone, here's the deal. Welcome to Fish Talk Live, presented by Power Pole and Ozello Keys Marina. Typically, we do this show every single Tuesday, and we go live so we can interact with everyone. But our internet service, I'm not going to name any names.
Welcome to Ozello.
Is not allowing that for tonight. So I don't think we ever had an internet issue, to be fair.
No, it's usually a power issue in Ozello, but yeah, happens.
But you know what? It happens. But we're going to do a pre-recorded show. What we're doing right now, we're going to do the full show because we have some great guests here tonight. We've got CJ, our friend from Sea Bass Lures, talking about the walking mullet, which we got to use last night and hammered a beautiful fish. Cannot wait to show that on this video here in a little bit. And we've got Captain Carlos Gutierrez filling in on the Ian Matthews State Farm casting couch for Captain Mario this evening. And we're going to be together talking to Matt Lanier from Salt Strong.
Holding first place at the moment.
Number one.
Redfish Series.
In the kayak division. He's the man. You know, it's a humble person, nice person, funny person, and a hell of an angler. So I'm excited to talk with him and see his strategy going into each event.
Oh, yeah, how to climb that ladder. That leaderboard is going to be what I want to hear the most.
That's it. And we'd also like to give a shout out and give our best to Pamela Worth, who was holding first place, but she like any great human being, put family in front of fishing or anything else.
Well, that makes sense.
Had to step away from the last tournament, but she was holding first place, and she is definitely an icon of the kayak angling world. So that being said, Billy, let's go ahead and jump into the Extreme Decals Catch of the Week and see what has been caught this week and see if we can spot any topwater action, too, while we're in it. So let's see what we got out there. Boom. Chris Chew.
Nice. Red Mr. Chew.
Beautiful redfish. What is going on with that fish?
That looks a bit interesting. Nice catch, Mr. Dunning. What happened to it? Very nice red, Miss Denise. I know there's a face in there somewhere. There it is. Very nice. Mr. Quinn, redfish. Holy smokes. That's not a redfish. That's a behemoth of a
Holy snooks, you mean?
Woo. That is good looking fish. Very nice fish. Look at the spots on that one Mr. Aldridge got. Very nice. Yeah, Justin Wilkerson took out his friend and hammered down on some fish out there.
Nice looking trout.
Absolutely.
There he is.
Good looking fillet station. That's a good sized trout they got out there.
Real nice trout.
Absolutely. There's Mr. Lanier. That winning fish. Got him up in the leaderboards. My goodness.
Golly, that's a big old red.
You're joking. Need a bigger table there.
What was the code word? Lucky?
Lucky.
Layer bear.
Very nice. Glad to see everybody made it out there fishing this week. Did better than I did.
Seriously.
My goodness. Very nice fish, Mr. Pritchard.
Scott in those sandals, I gotta say.
Yep, yeah. Although not tanned in extremely well. Very nice, Ron. Good mess of fish there. Dinner for days. Good looking black drum. Very nice.
Good slob of a snook.
No
Good Lord.
Joke. Fish I need to get this month. Very nice, Mr. Crosby. I appreciate you guys sending all those in. It makes my heart warm and my nerves frustrated.
That's it.
Glad to see everybody making it out there fishing this week.
All righty, everybody. So we are over here at the Ian Matthews State Farm Casting Couch with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Captain Carlos Gutierrez, the kayak angling fool. I mean, dude, you are just making a big splash in the kayak world. Yeah, I mean, every time I talk to you before a tournament, you go from, kind of worried and then like, yeah, I'm just in it for fun. And then afterwards, I have to talk to your manager just to get a hold of you. And then we have to, your people talk to our people. And oh man, we're so proud of you, Carlos. What you've accomplished so far. You're sitting in second place right now.
Second overall in points, yeah.
Second overall. You got second in Jacksonville.
Yes. Yeah.
You fished Jacksonville, 100 times before?
Like once.
One time before. Let's start there. What's the biggest difference between Jacksonville fishing and here that you noticed?
I could probably point out a couple of things, and one is tide difference, water depth. When we think of dirty water here, like in the back, you can't see like a foot below the water over there. Like they really do have much dirtier waters in those back creeks. But when those tides go, they go. And when they come in like literally you're in a mud flat. There is a river of water that's 2 foot wide that's been left behind. And then all of a sudden you just see it growing inch by inch by inch. It's like I'm literally watching this place flood right before my eyes. So it's like the tide difference and how fast the tide moves there was something that I was not expecting when I started trying to look at different areas to scout up that way. 2, mud and oysters, like a lot of oyster bars, clumps. I wouldn't say we have that type of ground over here. So those 2 were the biggest differences that I would say from this area to Jacksonville, for sure.
So we're really talking, it is a big difference. I mean, it truly is. Like how, from dock fishing. Like we don't really dock fish here. You use that, you hear that phrase over there a lot, dock fishing and pilings, and it's just not something we're used to. And, those king tides that they get, like you were saying, I mean, sometimes the tide difference is 5 feet. Yeah. And it happens like that.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you can get stuck back in there, and if you get too far in those creeks, you better know how to paddle fast. So,
yeah. What
has been your biggest challenge that you would say going from tournament angling out of a motorized vessel to tournament angling out of a kayak? And I'm talking not fishing, I'm talking about tournaments. What is the biggest difference, biggest challenge that you feel like you've had to overcome so far?
I don't know if this will answer your question exactly, but coming from a boat side to kayak, one of the biggest challenges I've seen that I've faced is anchoring. I have the wind, the current, or do you have a small anchor? Is the anchor going to be a little grapple anchor? Is it going to be a little stake pole deal? How do you attach that to your kayak and have it? Some people use the anchor trolley. I've gotten different reports. Some people like it, some people don't. But then you get into hard bottom, and that spud pole isn't going to do anything. You can't physically jam that little spud into rock, so you're not going to hold. Steinhatchee was windy. Panama City was windy. And Jacksonville was pretty chill. I was back in the creeks. It was flat calm, no wind. I had about 100 no-see-ums as my best friends. And then the wind picked up a little bit, but it was very more of a comfort. It really wasn't that bad. I was expecting worse. But anchoring, I feel, has been one of the biggest challenges that I've had to face or overcome, or try to see how I could just overcome.
So the power pole micro anchor.
Yes.
That's got to be like the ideal situation for a kayak anchoring.
I think it's going to, for me, I think that has made a difference. And the story behind, literally Friday night, I drove from Jacksonville all the way back to Citrus County to pick up a micro to install it on the kayak at 9 o'clock at night, and then leave at 4 o'clock in the morning to go try to get to my launch spot to be on the water as early as I could by that 7:15 start time. Just take my photo and go. So had it not been for the micro, I don't think I would have had the day that I had in Jacksonville.
Good deal. Well, I don't want to stop the conversation. I want to keep it going, but I do want to include Matt Lanier in this, because I want to go from a veteran, I've used this word twice already, and I really think there's two icons truly in kayak angling, and Matt and Pam, they are definitely those. So let's bring on Matt Lanier. He's a team member of Salt Strong. And he is just a hell of a great person and a joy to be around, fish with, fish alongside. But I want to bring him up on the screen, and I want you guys to kind of talk back and forth about your differences of how you got started and, how these little struggles, because I bet you Matt can help out a lot too.
Yeah.
So, Matt, you out there, my friend?
I'm here, my man. How y'all doing? What's going on, Carlos?
Oh, man, Carlos, hey, we do need to get Carlos a feedback. There we go. So, Matt, till we get Carlos a feedback, something we didn't think about real quick, I can just hear you. So, Matt, you and I talked a little bit last night. Pamela Worth, hell of an angler, one of the best.
Yes, sir.
She was leading up until Jacksonville. You and her were neck and neck. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. Pam was in first place, 1 point ahead of me, and Pam was actually on some really good fish going into the event, into Jacksonville. And I'm not gonna lie, man, Pam had me really worried, because going right into the event, my original plan just wasn't panning out like it originally had when I first thought it would, and I first got there. Things just changed up, and I'm confident that had Pam been able to fish that event, I would not be in first place now. But just like you guys talked about, our condolences and prayers go out to Pam. She had to go be a part of the family matter. And, no event is the same without her having her there with us to compete. So, just want to, always extend our prayers to Pam during, what she's going through, for sure.
Absolutely, we agree. And you said it best. Like there's just no event, or the event's just not the same without her there. So we're hoping for the best outcome possible for her family, and that she can get out there and get back in these tournaments. But let's so you're now sitting in first place overall in the kayak division. This is your second season fishing or third season fishing this tournament?
I've been fishing with them since the beginning. Since what they had was, the test series or the practice runs before they even decided to make it official to see if this thing was actually going to work or not. I played a part of the guinea pig crew, as many other anglers that are still involved did, including Pam, and Dave Nauman, Joe Forsyth, a lot of anglers that have been fishing these for quite a while. A lot of people have been a part of it since the beginning, before it was a real thing. So, since the beginning, since day one, we've been here, trying to see it come full circle and continue to grow and, attract the likes of Carlos, the real professionals. We got to see some of the real people come in here, man, and show us how it's done. But yeah, no, I love to see it grow, man. And it's continued to do that. Love to see that, man. I think we're setting records at every new event now, almost every time this year. So it's just been really awesome to see, and, really tough. Especially this year, trying to keep up with the competition, being that we have grown so much, with all these new faces in the competition. It's a lot of new faces, brings a lot of new, a lot of different skill and a lot of different hitters, man. So, really tough to stay consistent, even more now that there are so many people. But that's my goal going into every event, man. I know that's going to be your next question. What do I want to do every time I go fish one of these? My only goal is to weigh 2 fish, man, or put 2 fish on the board. Everything after that second fish is icing on the cake, but that's when we can start getting fancy.
That's a good. I like that.
I would have to agree. Matt, how are you doing? I had technical difficulties without the little deal here. So how are you doing today?
I'm good, buddy. Good to
Good
see
deal,
you,
good
Carlos,
deal.
man.
Every single time I have to just mimic your words. My goal is catch 2 fish that will measure, and that is it. And like, if you get another one that's a hair bigger, it's like sweet, and you just grow from there. Or that might have been the last one, but I just keep hustling until there's 2 that measure, and that's really. And then once that happens, if it does happen, that stress just drops, and then it's like, all right, we could maybe lay back a little bit, but still that intensity is still there. But that's really my overall goal: show up and fish, and hopefully catch 2 that measure.
Yeah, no, that's actually I was able to do it early in Jacksonville, man. I got lucky. The place I was at, I had my 2 fish within like 45 minutes of fishing. I think I had 2 fish before any. I mean, I'm not 100% sure about this, so don't quote me on this. But when I saw the leaderboards entering my second fish in, I had 2 fish before anybody had 1. I was able to get in there and strike quick, but on that little piece of the outgoing tide that we had,
Yeah.
being able to work in that shallow water was definitely, my best bite for sure. I even caught that 31 incher in about 6 inches of mud. Just
Wow.
like Carlos said, the water there is definitely different than what I'm used to fishing. I'm used to tannic water, or off colored, but stained water, not muddy water, man. Which in Jacksonville, you often fish in mud. So yeah, that was the 31 incher. And if you look just at the nose of that fish there, you can see the crab trap. It's sticking halfway out right
yeah.
there. And, the oyster bar right there to my right, my right hand side. But yeah, I caught that 31 incher right there next to that crab trap, and it's nothing but mud. Those fish stay shallow, big and small. So, you really sometimes have to get in an area and, like Carlos said, just weed out some littles sometimes. Like you got to go through a few of them to find some of those hammers or some of those measurables that you really need or that really count. I got into a spot that was good for me. And, when I found my incoming tide spot that I didn't really know was going to be my spot, just happened to stumble on it. I tried some things to get those fish to bite and couldn't really get them to commit on anything. And then I threw some top water and I got 2 bites on top water. And, but I think since the bites happened so close to my boat, when they went down, I couldn't get a good get over here with that thing. So I never got a good hook set on them and never brought those 2 to the boat. So I wasn't ever able to make my good upgrade like I was counting on during that incoming tide. I just kind of missed my good bite there. Made a like 3-inch adjustment over those first 2 fish that I got in the first 45 minutes over the next 6 hours. So the next, the end of that tournament after say 9 o'clock was a grind for me, man. And again, catching that 31 incher was awesome. And I had a good time. I weighed 2 fish. I was able to upgrade once. I made a top 10, just super grateful for where I placed, and able to stay consistent just by finding some fish on tournament day. Some of the guys that were there at the captain's meeting know that there was a little bit of panic on my face going into the event. I was a little squirrely because my plan didn't pan out right before the event. So just to be able to catch what I did, really grateful.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. And then Matt, we were talking a little bit about the Salt Strong app last night. It's badass. First of all, I mean, that app came such a long way. Going into these areas, that you're not real particular. You're not real. You don't fish there a whole lot. what are some of those tools in that app that you use the most that you feel like Billy and I talk about this app all the time, and the different features, like especially the wind. I think it uses the windy technology, if I'm not mistaken. But what are some of the other features that you utilize in that app approaching each tournament, especially in areas you're not used to?
Yeah, so like Carlos mentioned earlier, Jacksonville is just littered with oyster bars. And that's one of the things that I found was kind of key to some of those areas. The more oyster bars you could find, the more, kind of points or structure points you had or targets you had to hit, and that just, I felt like gave you more opportunities. And inside the app, we have a layer that you can actually click and see the oyster bars that are in any given area. So that's super helpful. But, go a step further. We just recently added an update for public and private land. There's other apps out there like, Onyx or something else, or I'm pretty sure there's some other apps out there that do this as well. But, that's all they do. They do public and private land. They don't do any of the other things that this does. It doesn't tell you where oyster bars are. It won't hold your routes for you. It can't set waypoints. It doesn't have high resolution. It doesn't have underwater topography. It doesn't have grass flat imagery. It does, it goes on and on. The list goes on and on of all the things that this thing is capable of. It has public reef data information. So any of the public reefs, like just to let you guys know, as soon as I get off this call, I'm jumping in the truck and I'm headed west to Navarre to go do, blackfin tuna. So, I mean, I have all the information to the public reefs out there just from the app, so I know where I need to go in general direction to, find what I need to find, no matter what species I'm looking to target. So it's helpful in a lot of different areas, and in a lot of times it depends on the event or the location and how I use it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's a really cool app. It's got all the best features from all around that you have to go from here to look at, all in one app. So I mean, it's been real helpful for us too over here. But I mean, you're a part of a real cool team over there at Salt Strong. We really do envy you guys and everything you do, for the fishing community. So, all right, last question, Matt, and I want this one to count. If you had to give one piece of kayak tournament angling advice to Carlos, what would it be? And I know we didn't talk about this before, so I did catch him off guard there.
Oh, you did. You did. Oh, stop now while you're ahead, Carlos. I'm kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. No,
that's a good one.
No, I'm just kidding. I love seeing you there, Carlos. Truthfully, I don't think I need to give you any, man. You know what you're doing, man. And I would say don't overanalyze anything, but I can't tell you not to do what I do myself.
That's my biggest fault. I do overanalyze everything. I stare at something.
Listen, man, that's me. Like, I'll lose so much sleep over it. It's terrible. I mean, and I can tell you not to, but again, maybe that's one of the things that kind of sets us apart. I mean, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I pay attention to wind patterns for a whole week, before the event, like, and that's why I knew my spot went dead. I talked about that at the weigh-in for those people that were there live. I knew that the wind shifted 2 days before the tournament. So all those fish that I'd found right before, the event going, my first day of practice, I found good fish right away. Yeah. So I knew where they were going to be at that time with those conditions. But, wind shifted, things changed. Like Carlos said, the wind picked up the day of the event, and I'm over there in my kayak, trying to do a rain dance, like, I'm telling you, I was begging for something to cool things down a little bit, because for a few days it was hot. And with all that wind coming out of the west, you really needed to fish somewhere in the east so that you could catch all that wind-blown stuff. I made a gamble and, went against what I knew best, and to just try and grind out an area that I was familiar with. But I knew it wasn't the best play. The best play was playing the wind, moving to the east. But, I was just trying to find two fish, man. I was just grateful for two fish.
I love it.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, that's cool.
So I'll share how my fish, just to see how your fish came to you. What caused me to start catching my fish was they gave themselves away. Like they were actively feeding. Like, oh, you made a mistake. Like, boom, I'm coming your way. Boom. Got my first one, 24 something. I was like, oh, thank God. And then I lost a small slot. I was like, that could have been it. Like that there went my second fish. And then I got real fortunate and I found a spot that I never would have found. And I just tried something and it worked. And then it worked and it worked and it worked. I know I caught over 100 inches of fish in one spot. And back to the oyster beds, when those get covered, you don't know where they're at. If you're not familiar with that area, you don't know what structure's below. But I just got lucky and it worked out. And but what actually started my bite of measurable fish was they were actively feeding. And I was just curious on your day of fishing, was it just because you had practice in that area before, or did they give themselves away, or was it your baits that attracted them to come out of their hiding spot?
Yeah, so I think there's a little bit of all of it, but you nailed a lot of it. A lot of it was visual. I was able to see some of these fish, like I'm just targeting high probability zones. I'm hitting the oyster bars, I'm hitting the points, but the whole time I'm not even looking at my rod or my bait. My head's just doing this the whole time, man. Like I'm going full circle because all I'm waiting for is to watch one of them suckers run up that mud bank. Yeah. And as soon as I see him, I'm booking it straight to him, Jack. Like I'm trying to get there. But the only downside was I'm in, just inches of water, so I can't pedal. I'm having to, pole up into these fish. And that's what a lot of Jacksonville is. A lot of people try and fish that tide. We mentioned that, man. That's a lot of moving water. We were fortunate that we only had 3.5 feet of moving water. That's what I normally have. But Jacksonville can have 6, 7, 8 feet of moving water. We had that last year, 6 feet of moving water. And that was a fast moving tide. You can't fight that. The best thing to do is find your spot, your best spot, and let that water drop. Because when the water drops, the fish are coming. The fish are going to stay there. There's only going to be a little place for them to be. And they're going to be there. You just have to have faith in that. Because if you try and stay in that comfortable water of, 2 and 3 feet where it's nice for you to be able to pedal around and move in, those fish aren't feeding in that. They feed in the shallows.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Awesome. So I hope y'all kayak anglers are out there listening to these two, because I'm interested in kayak fishing now. And I hate kayaking.
I'm just trying.
It's like, Jacksonville is a great area because if you do fish like that, it's a great area to like sight fish, snipe these fish, and in situations like that, it's not clear water, so they're not as, prone to knowing that you're there all the time. So that's great.
Awesome. Matt Lanier, thank you, man. Every single time that you come on the show, we cannot thank you enough. And when we get to see you in person, it's even more special. But, brother, we love you. Thank you, and have fun blackfin tuna fishing.
I appreciate it, fellas. We're going to catch the red eye here in just a few minutes. Carlos, looking forward to seeing you in Panacea. And you too, Gary.
We'll
you bring
there,
Billy to see me.
Yeah,
we all got to get together, share some intel. Carlos, looking forward to getting on the water. Love seeing you guys and talking to y'all. Hope to catch up with y'all soon, fellas.
Likewise, brother. Safe travels, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Shoot.
All right, we're in a commercial. So Billy and
Okay,
CJ,
I'll
if you
shoot.
guys want to happening.
But I don't see any hoop.
No, I said that because of, I'm sorry, shoot.
I'll shoot. Where's the hoop?
They don't have one.
Stop saying the S
I didn't know.
They're gonna want the jingle for this.
Okay.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't worry. State Farm makes it easy to file a claim on the app for a new car or even that old Pacer.
Someone call for an old Pacer?
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Guys, this is Billy at Technical Table Talk, presented by Nature Crow's Financial Advisors. I got Mr. CJ over here. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, doing good. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
So CJ here has the Walkin' Mullet. It's presented by Seabass Lures, and I want you to tell me a little bit about it. I got to experience a little bit on how this thing works, and I love it.
Glad you loved it. Man, the walking mullet, man, is another topwater lure that you gotta have, man. It's one of those lures that when you use it, you can't put it down. And another cool thing about it is one of the first topwater lures with a segmented body and a tail on it.
Yes, and it's a nice soft tail that keeps that thing walking, which is pretty sweet to get to watch and witness. It does not take as much effort as a lot of other topwaters that I have played with. And tell me a little bit on the got a single hook action here, not running trebles.
No trebles.
Yeah.
We used to run trebles on them when we first started making them 2 years ago, and we kind of did away with it because we got tired of getting hooked, by the treble.
I get it.
So we got a lot of people commenting in and letting us know, hey, maybe it's a change for the hooks. It's time for a change. So we went to the VMC's inline singles. They're 1/0, but you can change them, which will give you a different floating action. I went with the 1/0 just to give you a little bit more hookup power, hookup ratio, just in case you run into some bigger fish, bigger quality fish, and then boom, there you go, you have it.
Can't get over how light they are in general. The lure or the hook itself is so light, versus some of the trebles. It almost feels like it's an aluminum.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like it's actually a steel hook there. Right there is the walking mullet itself.
Yes,
a little bit on the zoom in side. It's a pretty sweet little lure.
Thank you.
Coming from the top side, be able to see it's got that little break tail in the action there. Yeah, getting to watch them walk is the nice part. Like you and I were speaking of earlier, it'll actually help the youth get a little more attracted to it.
Yes, sir.
As far as being able to play on that topwater side of life. Yep. You can see exactly how that thing will hold its flow, which is pretty awesome to get to watch that in person. It's got a nice walk to it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.
Really see how that tail comes into effect too, as
It just follows right on through.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Super easy lure for anybody that's getting into topwater fishing. The youth, like Billy was saying, it's a phenomenal lure for your youth to be able to get into. And like I said, topwater world is where it's at right now, especially with the walking mullet. You got to get your hands on one just to see it for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how long have you guys been in business?
We've been in business for, oh my gosh, about 6 years. We started in 2017.
Nice.
And we've been pushing, man. We've been pushing, man, with the beautiful product we have here, man, called the Walking Mullet, man. You got to get your hands on it.
So
Absolutely.
So being a topwater manufacturer, I've got the ultimate question for you. What is your go-to knot to tie a topwater lure? Specifically yours, but
Right.
but what is your go-to? And then I want to ask the same question to Carlos.
Okay. My go-to knot for this is a double loop knot, which is what we use in the swim bait world on your big 14-inch swim baits. And that knot, pretty much, it holds up to any kind of caliber of fish, saltwater to freshwater, you name it.
Sweet. Yeah, because that was Billy and I's choice. Well, we did a single loop.
Single
Yep.
loop, yeah.
Yep.
And that's what a lot of the guys in the industry do. They use a single loop, but it's a lot better if you use the double knot.
I can only imagine, especially getting hooked up into a good solid fish.
Oh man,
I mean,
you're gonna want that extra strength and that extra power.
absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
By using those loop knots, it just keeps that natural flow action on a topwater. I mean, a lot of artificials in general, you're going to want to use more of a loop knot itself.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I need to practice more on that double loop knot.
Because one of those lures went flying last night.
Yeah, watching the sword, it's like, all right, give me the troll.
Yeah, let me just go get it. Yeah. Awesome.
And one thing on an honest review is my absolute favorite part about having the singles versus the trebles when it comes to the hooks themselves. Many of y'all know just by following along, I'm not a professional fisherman whatsoever. And when it comes to mangrove fishing, I caught a whole lot less of the mangroves when I hit them.
Tree fishing.
Tree fishing.
It's tree fishing,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, there's no redfish in the trees.
Nah.
But I got my lure back every
Yeah.
time, and that's the part that I was very thankful for.
That's the awesome part about those single hooks, man. You can get them out of your snags a lot easier than you would with a treble hook.
Absolutely.
Well, I felt like at one point Billy was purposely throwing them over the mangroves because he was having fun just getting it out. He's like, these are great. These are great.
It's just an awesome feeling to be able to get that lure to just come out of there nice and smooth without it flinging back at you at 100 miles an hour.
I got about $200 invested in our Rosello mangroves out there.
All right.
So it's nice to be able to get a good lure back.
$200 is
Mangrove Christmas tree with the lures in it.
So, CJ, I gotta know what made you say, I want to make lures?
Well, at a young age, man, we had a lot of fish fries, and we went on a lot of fishing trips on the weekends. So that kind of, it just stayed with me, throughout the years of growing and, just getting into this industry a lot deeper than what I was in. And boom, the Walking Mullet came about. And I wanted something that you didn't have to, put a lot of effort in using, when you're out there.
Yeah.
You can pretty much throw this sometimes out there and just let it sit and they'll hit it, just because of how it floats and moves around in the water just by sitting there.
It definitely gives a lot more of a natural aspect to it versus your old top dogs or something of that nature.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes, sir.
Kind of a comment and question. So obviously we have like this more natural mullet bait pattern, and then we have the orange or gold that Billy has in his hand right now. Obviously, clean water, dirty water. But one thing that we haven't said anything about was what is built in also that's going to attract fish to want to eat this bait.
Well, if you look here on the side, you have a nice little groove on both sides of the lure. That's going to hold like any lure scent that we like to use, like Procure, anything that's a lot sticky, it's real sticky to the lure. That Procure is going to last a lot longer. We've done a lot of testing with a lot of other lure scents, but the Procure for us, it stayed on a lot longer than any other ones. And like I said, you can throw this all day. You'll still have your Procure stuck in that little groove, and you'll be catching fish all day, man. As soon as they touch it and they taste that,
Absolutely.
it's on.
The other thing that in my opinion, any good top water is going to have that rattle inside.
Yeah.
So it's going to have that little enticement just by sound also. So you're going to have scent, and you're definitely going to have sound, and hopefully those will help generate more bites. The tail action is obviously unique, I think. I mean, if you got one, I'll more than definitely add it to my tackle box.
But definitely.
It's a wise move, Carlos.
The eyes look realistic. I mean, I've seen a lot of
Thank
baits
you.
where the eyes look kind of a little bit cheaper. You'll lose a couple of little eyes out of there. So it looks like a real solid bait. Obviously, with use, they get beat up.
Yeah.
Paint goes, but that's just because it proves to be an effective bait. As far as Gary's question to you, as far as whatnot, I've been kind of changing my strategy a little bit.
Okay.
On my knot of choice. Now that I'm stepping down to but I'm not specifically snook fishing, so I'm using lighter leader. I've been going with a fixed knot, but I think with the single inline hooks, there's not going to be as big of an issue with line getting tangled in the trebles. So I think the inline hooks solve that. And like you said, it protects the fish. Like I'm a big catch and release CPR, catch, photo release. That is me personally 99.9% of the time. So keep the fish healthier. And also, in the event that they get wild on you, you're not getting hooked yourself like you said. So
Yeah,
Exactly.
for sure.
Big factor in that.
No, I mean, these things were awesome. I mean, they were, Carlos, like we were not out the prime time yesterday.
Yeah.
Getting the testing in. As lightning was striking around us. Billy used silver, I used gold. Billy had a lot more blowups, but I ended up catching the gold at the end. So
Yeah.
do we have that video, Bree? Ready? I mean, this red, and now that was the other thing too. These weren't just, this is what I really liked about this lure. They weren't just ordinary blow-ups. they were just. We had one redfish that Billy missed, came out of the water. I mean, it
it blew up hard.
Oh, it was. Oh, yeah. I thought the
It's
rod
just
was
like-
going to go soaring. Yeah.
Sitting there just shaking.
Just one more.
But
Just one more.
but man, it
happened.
exploded. We were actually on the phone with Matt, and you know, it was like, oh man, just another explosion. But these weren't just normal like.
Yeah.
These were
Yeah.
explosions. So. These are definitely effective top waters. They're effective enough that I want to start carrying them in the shop. So, you know, put us down for some orders, man,
Amen.
because seriously, these are going to be huge.
Playing in
And
our area with the crummy conditions we played in, the amount of attraction that they brought to us, I can't wait to hit a prime time
yeah,
title, win all the above.
You're not going
To
to
be able to
leave.
go out there and play, absolutely not
Yes,
going to
sir.
leave.
Not going to leave the action.
Yeah, I mean, getting into top water in general is just the most heart-pounding fishing you can get into.
Yeah, there's nothing like it in the fishing industry.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use a caliber of other lures, crankbaits, swim baits, spinner baits, you know, trolling lures, you name it. But when it comes to
Yeah.
that top water lure,
oh yeah,
it's just another world. It's an adrenaline, man. It's an adrenaline rush, you know.
it is.
It's a drug.
It is. You know, and just a couple tips on top water. My personal opinions. I use nothing heavier than 15 pound.
Awesome.
Fluoro.
Okay.
I use as light as fluoro as possible, just because, I mean, if you think about it, you have something on top of the water. This line is sitting there doing this. So anything lighter, in my opinion, is going to be better. And since I've done that, that's really the biggest thing, because since I've done that, my top water game has improved a lot. So, and it's like, what was Rick Murphy's famous saying, Billy? It doesn't matter how fast. What you said on the boat last night?
When we were talking, it's just, he goes, I don't care how fast you work that bait. He goes, I want you need to make that perfect 90.
Yep.
And getting that
Perfect
walk
90.
with that lure made it simple.
Yeah.
Super simple.
And switch your speeds up too. You know, variable speeds.
Very,
like
various
it's,
speeds.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
What is the size of this bait? 4.5? 4?
It's 5.5, right at 5
5.5.
inches.
Okay.
Right at 5 inches. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yes, sir.
Well, cool. Well,
About it.
yeah, CJ.
Local Florida boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
favorite.
Ocala,
local.
right?
Ocala, baby.
Yeah.
Boone County.
That's one of my
Yes,
favorite
sir.
parts.
Love it.
You know,
Yes,
there's
sir.
nothing better
Thank
than
you. Thank you.
supporting home areas of making their own tackle, their own
Sir.
whatevers. I support the heck out of that.
Yeah, man, most definitely. We so
Yeah.
appreciate you guys having me, man, to be able to
We appreciate
share
you.
this with you guys.
Dude, thank
And,
you, man.
Yeah.
Live Yanking Fun, man. Remember, Seabass Stores, you can get these also at
Yanking Fun.
walmart.com if you want to get your hands on some.
Say at Walmart, is that what you said?
Walmart.com.
No shit,
sir.
real? Wow.
Yeah.
And
most
these
definitely.
two were the only profile colors you had?
Yes, these are the only two profile colors we have right now. We'll be coming out with the third color, which is Gasparilla, which is this kind of a color off of the Mardi Gras color.
Like it.
We'll be getting that here soon. So if you guys want to go ahead and put some pre-orders in, go ahead. I got you.
Heck yeah.
Cool. Awesome, man. CJ, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you guys.
Billy,
Thank you.
great job over
Yes,
there.
sir, man.
That was
Appreciate
the
you.
Nature
Much
Coast
appreciate
Financial
you.
Advisors
Yes,
Tackle
sir.
Table Talk.
Hey, let's
CJ
go.
with Seabass Lures, the Walk a Mullet.
Time to go fishing.
That's it.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's hit a
Zella,
commercial
baby, let's
break,
go.
and when
You
we
gotta
come
come here.
back, we'll close out the show.
I'm Ryan Wiggins,
Hell
General
yeah.
Manager of
Word.
Abyss Battery,
Hell
and I'm
yeah.
here to give you some tech tips and insight on lithium batteries. When selecting a trolling motor battery, it's important to take into consideration the size of your boat and how you're fishing, or even where you're fishing. The current trolling motors on the marketplace are capable of pulling 55 amps at full throttle. So a 60 amp hour battery is only gonna last an hour if you're running the trolling motor hard. Make sure you know what you're buying before you invest thousands of dollars and put it on your boat.
Tell me when. Good. All righty, everybody. Guys, thank you again. Not a normal show. Usually we're live. But I tell you what, with the guests that we had tonight, we weren't just skipping that episode. So
That was good.
That was a good one. I'm telling you, Carlos, you're going to love these baits.
Yeah, I'm excited to try these. Definitely going to start putting these to use. Top water is one of my go-tos that I always have a rod rig with when I take them out, especially on these tournament fishing deals. So excited to put them to use.
Cool. So, Panacea tournament's next.
Next, yeah.
It's the first weekend of
April.
April.
April
So
6th, yeah.
when are we going?
probably going Wednesday.
Let's go. Let's roll. Guys, thank you very much for watching Fish Talk Live. You know, one other thing too, so our first episode back in April, we're going to be doing our first official review of the Power Pole Move. Last night, Billy and I had the chance to use it for the first time.
About when swimming.
It's crazy, Carlos. It's nuts. So, but I want to get some, use in. I want to give you guys real, true feedback. So make sure you stay tuned. That's gonna be the first episode back in April, and hopefully we've got some big news from Carlos's first place finish at PNC. Let's see.
We'll see.
Try not to make his head too big. But thank you for watching Fish Talk Live, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Peace.